Woohoo! Yeah. Um, this is Quiet on Set, a reaction thing part two. But first, a brief intermission. So after they get the thing out, the best he told me like what might have happened was might have been some scar tissue that like kind of blocked it up, and that's what was causing the issues I was having at the clinic, right? And they said like, so we're gonna have to like send a balloon in and stretch it out. I want you to know something. When they put the balloon in and they inflated it the first time, I how would I describe the noise? It was like it was like hearing meat popcorn pop inside my body. That's the only way to describe it. Cause like it was like this. It was like cracking two handfuls of like not two hands, but like two sets of knuckles. So it was like cracking 20 knuckles underwater. That was the sound it made from like inside the right side of my chest. And I told him that sounded gross. Like it sounded like cysts just exploding inside of my chest. That was the noise that it made, and I didn't know how else to feel about it. They also did this thing where they like had to like inflate, I guess, the entire pathway, and like there was a point where they did it in the vein in my neck. That fucking hurt. Like that was incredibly unfun. Also, it turned out that the metal the metal beads in my hair kept showing up on the X-ray, so they had to learn to decipher what the hell they were looking at. Also, before all of that even got started, I heard this lady because as I was being wheeled because I needed a wheelchair. I was doing bad. Like my back is killing me. I heard this lady say, "Oh, I like the colors in his hair. It's so colorful." Because I tend to forget what my hair looks like because it's behind me, and I pretended to not hear her because she didn't say it to me directly. She said it to somebody else. So apparently she was looking at my hair, and somebody like was looking at her like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" And she had to explain herself, which I thought was cool. Men don't get complimented very often, but my hair has gotten me a lot of compliments, mostly from women, exclusively from women. All right. So we talking about what's that girl name? Is it Bobby? Brandy? It's Brandy. We left off talking about Brandy, right?
I guess so.
Okay. You want to explain what happened? What are you doing? What role do you want to have in this? Exactly.
Well, you did most of the talking last time, and
So you
I
want
just tossed in comments.
so
So
you want to switch it up this time?
why change?
I, I say switch it up. I said
I'm
this one.
good.
But you got words too. You know how to word up. You're not gonna change it up, part. You don't want to change it up, do you?
No, you're far more opinionated than I am.
We're not talking. No. We're not talking about the opinions. We're talking about just recounting what happens in the episode.
Yeah, but you were like, I feel like
Uh
you
huh.
were kind of just like into it more than I was
Which is wild because it was your
because,
idea.
huh?
Which is wild because this was your idea.
No, I don't mean this. I mean the documentary
Oh,
because
was I?
you
Okay.
were so you were so turned off from the beginning that, like you said, you couldn't wait to rip it. So you were just hanging on words
Well, that's
and
not.
things.
I understand how you got there, but that's not how I would describe myself or describe how I saw it. The way I looked at it was from the beginning. Yeah, I was like, this is. I didn't like that they turned it into into TV because it was
Yeah, you said that, but that's what
yeah
they do with everything, though.
that
Like
yeah
that's nothing. That was nothing different from what is normally done with a documentary. Like think about any. episode of Behind the Music or E True Hollywood Story. Like
I guess the best way to put
it
it
was
is,
no different.
I guess I don't really care for like made for TV documentaries then, because I've seen a lot of documentaries that like the ones that aren't made for TV. It always feels like you get a lot more of a real opinion from the people involved.
That's not necessarily true because
I didn't say
documentaries
it was
also
true.
have
I said it.
writers.
I said that's what it felt like. I didn't say that's what it was. I said it feels more real because it feels like
Oh
the
my
people are.
god, semantics. Just
It's not.
continue.
No, it's not
I don't
semantics because
I don't have time for this.
I'm not because you're making it sound like I'm making like a definitive statement, and I'm doing my best to avoid making any kind of definitive statement. Like that's because that's not an opinion. At that point, when you're talking like your thoughts are facts, that's not an opinion, and I'm not here to do that. I don't want to do that. I have been told not to do that. I am cutting that shit out. So I don't think it's semantics. I'm just saying that's why I like the difference between the two. Like that's how I see the difference between the two. So the Brandy, I'm gonna keep fucking her name up. We don't know much about her because she was not involved in the taping. From what I remember, which this is like what 4 days ago. From what I remember, she wasn't involved in the taping. Her mother was more involved than anything else. I think her mother was the only person involved from her side. And what was the dude? Like, dude's name was Jason something. I don't remember exactly what his
Oh
name
yeah,
was.
I don't remember his name at all.
But I do remember it was Jason. Jason, Jason's story is relatively short. Jason was a part of like not the cast, but he was a part of the staff that worked with the kids at Nickelodeon. Brandy was this girl who grew up watching the Amanda Show, and she decided she eventually wanted to be on the show. She wanted to be a part of the show, and unlike any other child in the history of anything, she got that opportunity. And she had to be introduced to Jason because I don't remember what his role was. I really don't.
Yeah,
A PA?
yeah.
Okay. That's production assistant. Not personal assistant, which is what I thought it was. That's what I thought it meant. But yeah, I could be wrong. I don't even know if it's production assistant.
It is.
Okay. So his job was to like basically like be there with the kids and see if they needed anything and be there to talk to them and stuff like that. Well, him and this Brandy girl got kind of close. And he started emailing her directly on a regular basis. And this, in and of itself, should have been somebody's first, like, red flag. Because homeboy was grown, all the way grown, super duper grown, an adult, if you will. And he would email her back and forth, and her mom said that she would get excited every time that he would email her, yada yada yada. Until one day, I don't know how far in to meeting him. One day she went to the computer, and like she immediately like turned it off, and then ran to her room and started crying. And so she went to Brandy and was like, "Brandy, baby, what's wrong?" And long story short, Jason sent this little girl, who I think was like 8 or 9, or if not like somewhere in there. He sent this little girl a picture of himself fully nude masturbating to quote unquote let her know he was thinking of her. And the wildest part about this, again, in my personal opinion, I don't know if this dude was connected to Dan. Dan said he wasn't. But like the mom approached him about it. And like a decision was made to not get the police involved. And just like do away with it. Like that was the plan.
Well, I believe it was her choice
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
to involve the police.
Uh-huh.
And that's the whole situation with, because one, she admitted that when she was a kid, she wanted to be an actor. And
Her mom wouldn't let her.
the thing is like, huh?
Her mom was in the movie, the TV/movie industry, and her mom would not let her be a part of it. That's what she said. And she said that when she saw a chance to give her daughter what she never had, she jumped at the opportunity.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, though, is like when they were first emailing, it was the whole situation with like this guy has an in,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and he has access. So she was allowing it because she would also be reading the emails and everything. So like it was apparently there wasn't anything happening until that one time. But I guess on the side, Brandy was just actually writing him letters, and so maybe the mom didn't know about that. Now, where I feel like where she was coming from with the not involving the police is that she didn't get to live her dream,
Uh-huh.
and so she didn't want to be responsible for taking away her daughter's dream.
Mm.
And so I feel like that's why they decided not to get the police involved because that would have just been another blackballing situation.
I don't know how I feel about that. Like I said, like in like one of the other videos, because I don't know how I'm cutting this up yet. Pretty sure I'm gonna cut it up into four parts just to make the connection better. Um, but I still feel like when it all comes down to it, like I don't think it much matters because I feel like in that situation, that little girl most likely will make that connection on her own. That like being a part of like TV led to this thing that I really wish I hadn't experienced. Now, mind you, she got like the lightest of it that anybody could expect that you could like ask for in a situation that's horrific. Like she wasn't physically touched, but she was exposed to something like traumatizing. And also with that being said, like yeah, we do find out later on that she was writing him
I feel like he was the probably out of the three the most
tame.
perverse.
I don't know. I really don't know. It depends on who. It depends on what community you're asking. The black community would say he would be the least
Because he
because
wasn't gay.
yeah. I'm glad I didn't have to
Like
explain that.
um, but he was the one who was caught with all of the images,
It
the
was
videos,
so. It was so
and
much.
the keepsakes. That's
Yeah, that's how.
the
That's
keepsake.
how. That's how we found out he was.
Like
That's how we found out he was getting physical letters from Brandy because the cops. He like I don't remember how he got caught up, but eventually the cops did like raid his home, I guess, and they found these Ziploc bags with little girl with girls' names on them. I don't say little girls' names because every little girl becomes an adult girl at some point. Um, and they called Brandy's mom, and they were like, "Hey, here's what's going on. None of the other parents want to be involved. Like none of them want to help us with the investigation, but there is a bag with your daughter's name on it with some letters and stuff in it. Do you want to help us?" And if I'm not mistaken, she said yes. And she was willing to go ahead and because no one else was gonna. So she was like, well, to hell with it, I'll do it myself. Like I will like help put this ass all the way. Like to avoid other people going through what, we're going through.
and then her daughter never acted again.
Well, I don't even know if her daughter is alive. They
Yeah, they
didn't
really did not clear that up.
no, they didn't talk about her in the present tense or the past tense or anything. They just didn't talk about her. It was very strange. And the wildest part about it was like the all that kids, the ones like from like the ones that were on the fucking show, um, they were all so surprised when they found out that he got arrested for what he got arrested for. because they all said that they never saw any of that out of him. Like he was just like, what did
You know what?
Giovanni say? Like he was just a goofy white boy from Denver or something like that.
Yeah, like they had Bible study.
Somebody out
But
there
I
is
feel
making a
like the
connection to
reason
that. Don't do that.
don't that's what they that's what she said.
No. They did. Yeah, she said that they would do Bible study. But I'm saying that somebody out there is making a connection between Bible study and his actions. And I'm saying don't do that.
And I mean, who's to tell them they're wrong? Anyway,
Oh, I'm to tell you
so
you're
I feel
wrong.
like there might have been a power dynamic situation, or also just maybe the girls in the cast were too old.
Yeah,
You know,
I assume that that was the case. Is it like simply put, like he wasn't
because
interested?
I mean, he was just a PA, and he targeted extras who have even less power than the PA does. So it's it all comes down to power, which
This is
he
the
wrote about.
the following the following statement isn't going to make a lot of. It's going to make perfect sense, but it's not going to be. I'm not about to. This is not a hot take. I think all of this is fucking gross. Like I do. I'm going to openly say that I understand people who have like a sexual like perversion. Like I understand that you have a perversion. I understand it. But I think like chomos, chomos and pedos, they're the same thing, but it rhymed. Chomos and pedos are the same, I think, as people who have a masturbation addiction. Like if you're if you're on a public transportation and you're like scrolling through porn on your phone and you get an erection or you get wet and you're like, I gotta masturbate right now, and you do, you have the same mental disability as somebody who does not realize that they're attracted to people who cannot consent. Because like at the end of the day, like your brain just does not know how to act right, which is a very like baseline statement, like acting right. But your lack of control is what I'm saying I understand. But at the same time, I kind of don't care. Like I don't have sympathy for these people because it's just still fucking gross. And a lot of them know that it's wrong and they just don't care. And I feel that gives like all the rest of us a right to say, well, we don't fucking care either. Like, yeah, you ought to be in prison and you don't deserve to be protected in prison because we
Well, that's
all
what he wrote.
that he was being tempted.
No, that he was like, I know what I am,
Oh,
and
is he the one who
I
wrote down?
gotta find somebody. Yes,
He's the one. Yeah, he wrote that he had a journal, and we're assuming like they had to assume that the journal was for like to like help him like ease his tensions, and he wrote down, "I'm a full blown schmetter smile," because I ain't putting that fucking audio clip out there. Uh, he wrote
well,
down.
you better go back and catch it in the last one.
I don't think I said it in the last one.
No, you said it in the last one.
Oh, I don't remember saying it. He said it. I'm a full blown diddly do dally, and he's like, yeah, he was openly saying like he had gotten to the point, even if he had to look for somebody to assault, that's what he was gonna do. And it's just like, but if you have that mentality where you know what's going on, you have that mental clearness and awareness that that's what's going on, fucking seek help. Like, and I'm not saying I know it's difficult. I'm not saying well it's just not that easy. First off, don't say that when we're talking about this. Don't do that. Don't have their back. But like I am saying, like it's wild that like these people don't get that like you went out of your way to write this shit down because you could argue like anybody who does that kind of wants to get caught because that's how I look at it. If you keep a ledger of the things you've stolen from Walmart, I assume you want to get caught in some capacity. You know what I mean?
And I mean, who steals from Walmart? Honestly,
I mean, it's the worst place to steal from. Like,
legit,
they have real tight security.
so stupid.
Just don't do that. Like respect Walmart. Okay, I don't know how long I can keep that up. But yeah, like that shit. I don't get it. Like I understand that you don't have as much control over it as you'd like to have, but at the same time, like in his situation, motherfucker, you knew what was up. You knew you had a problem and you didn't care. And it's like, yeah, like, and that's when like we talk about like Dick Peck, because Dick Peck clearly he knew he had a problem. Because I like to believe that when like he was assaulting Drake and Drake woke up, I like to believe when like they made eye contact in the night or whatever, like he had a moment of clarity where he was like, "Ooh, bye," and like he ran away. That's what I like to believe. I don't know if that's what happened, but that's like what like happens in my head is like he realized that what he was doing was all the way fucked up, and he didn't stop. Like Drake did not clarify that like after that first encounter that like how many more times it happened, but they did insinuate that it did happen more than once.
Yeah, and he also insinuated that like penetration.
Yeah. The wild part is, and like this is where we'll transition just a scone. Dick Peck ain't done. I ain't done dragging that fucker through the mud yet. I said fucker, not the other word. Uh, Drake almost tried to use it as an explanation for his own perverseness. And now, like I'm connected to someone who worked in juvenile detention centers, and they said a lot of juveniles that were like locked up were locked up for sexual harassment or sexual assault in some capacity, and a lot of them that were in trouble for sexual assaultment. I'm watching TV and trying to talk at the same time. A lot of the ones who were guilty of sexual assault had been sexually assaulted. And so like it becomes like this vicious cycle that like it's just what they know. Or it's like it's the only thing they can think of, and for some of them it's like that's what they think you're supposed to do, and for others it's like, yeah, I'm just going to like give you what happened. If it happened to me, it should happen to you too. It was like it's the mentality. Which is fucked up. But we're talking about minors here. We're talking about fucking children who can't make, fully like thought out decisions. So it's like whatever. But yeah, Drake, like he said, he ended up doing drugs. He ended up drinking, all that shit. And I don't know, man. Like you're stressed out, right?
Currently, I'm stretched out.
Nah, but you've stressed before, right? You've had
I
depression.
mean,
You ever had depression?
I'm in a constant state of depression.
Have you ever thought like, I should try alcohol?
No,
Did you ever think to yourself like, man, I'm really sad. I should do cocaine.
no.
So that's the one thing I never understand. When people say, yeah, life was real hard, and like, so I turned to alcohol. What made you decide to turn to alcohol? Like,
The escape. It's the hope that having the alcohol is going to make you forget all of the bad stuff and make you into
ugh.
someone else. It's why a lot of people are like, well, you can't be fun if you're not drinking. So you're telling me that the alcohol brings the fun out? I would like to challenge that.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The fact that like drinking and getting drunk, like finding out that like you, bro, if I told you, hey man, you should watch this video, and you were like, what's the point of the video? And I was like, well, legend has it, if you watch it, it might make you shit your pants. Are you
Oh,
gonna be?
not the brown note.
Nah, it ain't the brown note. That's why I don't. That's one of the reasons I don't want to drink. Because most people don't drink for fun. Most people drink to get drunk. And shitting your pants or pissing yourself is on the table. And I just don't want to do anything where shitting my pants, pissing my pants is another story. But shitting on myself, if that's on the table, I'm out. You feel me? Like the amount of like drunk stories that are out there for comedic purposes that involve somebody shitting themselves. Yo, nah, I'm good, homie. Again, I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like alcohol is not gonna solve your problems. Shush. Alcohol ain't gonna solve your problem. But like that was Drake's stance. Like he went through that, and on top of that, like he had to effectively go through it alone because like when they because he couldn't tell anybody. Well, he felt like he couldn't tell anybody because he didn't tell his dad. And like when the dude got arrested, when Dick Peck got arrested, like he called his dad and he told his dad, like, "Did you hear? Like they got him." And his dad was like, "I fucking knew it, man." He didn't sound like that, but he said something to the like along those lines. And he was like, "I'm just glad they got him before they got to you, buddy." Again, that ain't what he
You know what's
sounds
the
like.
most messed up about that is just how much it seems like his mom didn't care.
The fact that his dad, because Dick Peck told Drake, "Hey, your dad's stealing your money. You should like fire him as your manager." And he talked to Drake into firing his dad as his manager. And Drake's dad, let's call him Bill. Let's call him Edward Moore. Uh, fuck, his last name is Bell. Never mind. I was making an Edward Moore Drake joke. It didn't work out.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, we caught it.
uh, it didn't work out.
Mhm.
Uh, and he was like, "Okay, Dad, you're fired." And, well, his mom called his dad and was like, his mom called Southwestern and told him, "South, you're fired." And he was like, "As long as this is what Drake wants, I'm fine with it. But you listen here to me, Bethunia. Bethunia, don't you let him anywhere near that Dick Peck. Don't leave Dick Peck anywhere near Drake. If he's in the room, you keep your eye on that fucker." That's what he told the woman. She was like, got it. And like the reason that all of that went to shit, the main reason none of that mattered was because she didn't like to drive. According to Drake, the reason he ended up at Dick Peck's house was because his mom didn't like to drive, and most of his auditions were like an hour out from the house. So instead of her doing this thing she didn't feel like doing, she would have Dick Peck take him to his auditions. And instead of having Dick Peck bring him all the way back home at like 12 o'clock at night on a fucking school night so they'd have to do the whole thing all over again the next day, Drake would just spend the night at Dick Peck's house, which is how Dick Peck picks some dick.
Dicks were pecked.
Well, at least one was.
Mhm.
And it's all because Drake's mom did not feel like driving. That was it. That was the reason. She didn't feel like driving. Which is like the most like I'm not gonna front. Like I feel like at the end of the day, like you can't argue. You could argue that like she was told, like, "Hey, this dude's questionable," but she couldn't have known for sure. Like, so I don't know if you could like charge her with like child neglect because effectively it was like, well, he doesn't want to do it. So like he doesn't want you anymore, so you staying with me, or whatever. Fuck. I thought it was shit. I thought it was a shit excuse. Like I really did. Like Drake's mom wasn't involved in the documentary. I don't know if she's alive. Um, but I did think it was real fucked up. And like Drake even like what happened? Drake was at his girlfriend's mom's house, and Dick.
So, well, you have to. So it's another one of those situations. It's another power situation where Dick Peck,
Are you annoyed that you said it?
where that guy saw the hole that he
Huh?
could fit.
Was that intentional?
Nope, it just came out.
Okay.
But he saw the gas. Uh, oh god, it is what it is. He saw the hole that he could fill, and so he got in there. And
Golly, it gets worse.
and he split them up, which left him in a situation of power. Now, the crazy part is, when Drake was talking about how uh, Brian would just go out of the way to, like, literally always be there. Like, whether Drake was performing 150 miles away, Brian was going to drive 150 miles away to see Drake perform. Like, he was taking him to Disneyland, and
Yeah.
he was just always there. And so in that relationship, Brian obviously felt like he had some ownership over Drake. And so when Drake got a girlfriend, Brian didn't like that because it started to take away from the time that Drake that he felt like he owned with Drake.
Mm.
And so, yeah, one day when Drake was at his girlfriend's house and he did not want to be around Brian, um,
Is
and
that?
then yeah, you can pick it up from there.
Yeah. So Drake didn't want to have anything to do with this motherfucker, and Brian was texting him, talking about them going to Disneyland, and he was like, "Dude, I'm not going to Disneyland with you." Um. So this dude just kept blowing up the spot. Kept calling Drake's phone. Kept calling Drake's phone. Like I'm talking about, just according to Drake, was blowing his shit up. And when Drake wouldn't answer the phone, this fool started calling the girlfriend's mom's house multiple times over. And he said it was his girlfriend's mom who pulled him aside, like on some one on
Well,
one
hold
shit.
on, because it wasn't until after he hung up the phone with Brian. He hung up the house phone with Brian,
The
and
house
then
joint.
Brian started calling his phone again,
Yeah.
over and over again. And
And
that's when she was like, "This ain't normal."
she's like, yeah, don't no grown man call my girlfriend's boyfriend like this. Like, what's up? So she pulled Drake aside for some one on one and was like, what's going on? And he tried to give her some bullshit and was like, it's like, nah. And she's like, no, 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 no. What's going on? And I don't think he told her everything.
It's okay.
What?
It's okay.
What do you mean? Don't do that.
It's okay.
No,
Then
don't do that. Don't do that shit. Don't do that shit. Don't do that, man. You don't have the right. And so I think that she was like, yeah, fuck this noise. I'm calling the police. And so she calls the police, and I think like that starts the investigation. And if I'm not mistaken, he said like sometime later, I think he was on the phone with his mom while he was like on set. And he said he didn't know what caused it, but he just like, and I've done this before, like I've had this feeling. I think a lot of teenagers have definitely gone through this, where like you've been holding something back, like fuck, especially if you're being bullied. Like the day you just start, like the day you fight back is the day the fucking like the levees break. And apparently that's what happened. Drake's on the phone with his mom. He just like let it all out. Like he told her everything that had been going on. Like I don't know if he was like, and it's your fucking fault, you non-driving bitch. I don't know if he said that.
and she said, "Hold on, baby. I'm gonna catch the bus down to you.
Golly. I was like, hold on, Drake. I promise you, I love you. Let me
I'll be there
call.
within an hour."
Let me call Dick Peck and see if he'll give me a ride. Mom. Oh, right, right, right. Yeah, I'm paying attention. I'm here. I get what's going on. But seriously, he's probably close.
I'm gonna call that out.
Oh no, she still called him. She just had him drop her off around the corner. So you know how that goes. That's how that goes. But yeah, like that was like Drake's story, and then like he told his dad, and his
Well,
dad.
well, hold on now, because we got to talk about how ultimately they caught it. Because up until that point, it was all speculation.
Oh, I don't know how they caught it.
It was all alleged.
I don't remember that part. I don't remember that part,
The
man.
police, the police had him call. They recorded the call, had him
Oh,
call Brian
they
and
okey
get
doke
him to admit.
they okey doke that raggedy motherfucker. I forgot about that.
And the
Yeah,
crazy part is, like,
he knew.
somewhere deep inside of
He
him,
knew.
he knew.
So what ends up happening is like the police, they sit down with Drake and his mom, and they talk to Drake about what's been going on, and they need to get some kind of confession. So they hook some wires up to a tape recorder. They have him call Dick Peck, because I'm not calling him anything else. Uh, they have him call Dick Peck, and he's like, "So man, I just need to know like what was up with that, like the stuff that happened that night." And the dude apparently just let it all out. Like he was apologetic and all this other shit. But the wildest part was that multiple times throughout the phone call, he would ask Drake, "Are we being recorded?" And Drake was like, "Nah, man, what you talking about?" And a part of me kind of believes he knew they were being recorded.
Yes.
He knew, and a part of him wanted to get caught. Like a part of him did want to get caught because like we don't know if it happened to anybody else. We don't know if he just like specifically had Google eyes for Drake or what the situation was. But like that's how
Well, considering the amount of people who wrote letters,
the amount of celebrities that wrote letters on behalf of Dick Peck, like saying like he was under a lot of pressure. Like the wildest part about like a lot of a lot of people wrote about temptation as if like Drake was just flaunting his. I don't want to finish that sentence. As if he was like, as if Drake was asking for it. And like a lot, like I don't normally jump on the whole that's victim blaming bandwagon, but that's as close to actual victim blaming as you can get. You're effectively blaming a teenage boy for being the reason he got
and
sexually
let me say
assaulted.
this, and let me say this,
You said this twice,
let me say this.
thrice.
Dick Peck
Is
was
indeed
not a looker, so who was he jilted?
to be. Well, that's the thing. Like that's why. Okay, well, first off, yeah, he looked like he was a dumpy like Mexican dude. One could argue that's how come he did what he did. Options were few.
If
But
you're
I'm
Donald Trump, that's exactly what you would argue.
golly, like that dude, like. Okay, look. First off, I ain't gonna say too much about Trump because like, here's the thing: if you're watching this and you agree with anything I've said, there's no way you like Donald Trump. So I'm just gonna say like, straight up, like Donald Trump has to own a mirror. He has to. How else the fuck does he has to? How the fuck else does he put his hair on? There's no fucking way Donald Trump sees himself in the mirror, or at least at one point in time saw himself in the mirror, saw Ivana and was like, or whatever the fuck her name is, saw his wife, quote unquote, and was like, yeah, I can sell this. There's no fucking way. Like, just all top. Like, and I'm like, I am a firm, I'm an advocate for men dating above their, like punching above their weight class. I'm a firm advocate for it. As somebody who's like weight class is high but low, that's a double ender right there. Like I'm all for it. If you look like Bill Gates and you're dating somebody like Sofia Vergara, then yeah, like fuck yeah, bro, get that shit.
We know exactly why.
I mean, yeah, we do, but get that shit.
He's slaying.
Oh man, He might be, because I've heard intellectuals they know how to throw down. That's what I heard. I heard like when it comes to like bodybuilders and gymnasts, they take it as an opportunity to show off. But apparently, like intellectuals are a bit more voracious because they're usually trying to like blow steam. Huh? But yeah, but no, like the idea of saying like Drake was, it was hard for him to not do with anything. He was being tempted. Like, what a weird thing to say about a child. But yeah, there was a lot of motherfuckers who like came to his defense. Like people showed up on the day of his trial. I think they said it was like 50 some odd motherfuckers who showed up like in support of Dick Peck, and a lot of those same people wrote letters to the judge and requested leniency. These are the people who like quote unquote claimed that he was under a lot of stress and temptation. The temptation part is wild. And when Drake walked in and he saw all those people on dude's side, he kind of like lost faith. He was like, "Oh, I'm fucked." Like I don't know if he thought like wow, like this dude's gonna get away with this, or if he just genuinely like lost hope in humanity because But the judge was like, "Nah, fuck that, prison." But he didn't go to jail for that long though. If I'm not mistaken, it was like what
Nope.
like 3 to 5
He was
years.
out
Yeah, like 3 to 5 years.
quick.
Yeah, real fast. Shake it, real fast. Um, and and he had to register as a as a SMEX offender. And the best part of the entire the entire the best part of the entire 4-part series is finding out that Dick Peck, after being released from prison for sexually assaulting a minor, was hired it was due to a loophole. The loophole was that like he couldn't be around kids, but he could still theoretically work on children's programming. And he got hired for the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody over at the Disney Channel.
Straight back to work.
And Disney was like, well, we didn't know. And it's like, well, he was only there for like a year, I think, before he was fired for fired for the obvious reasons. But you was there for a year. Like, you mean to tell me y'all didn't do any kind of background checks? Like y'all like, hey, you want to come work with some children? Like, no background check, no previous experience required, no background check needed. And I just thought that was weird. And I also find it kind of weird. Like I find it wild that the documentarians were like, "Nah, we ain't gonna talk about that right now," because I felt like that's way more interesting than the rest of this episode is gonna be.
Well, that's Disney, We
We don't
don't talk about Disney because we don't want to catch a lawsuit.
like Nickelodeon ain't gonna do shit, but Disney might shut ID down
Yeah.
because it's all about the money at the end of the day.
Because I feel like at the time that they made this, um,
Oh,
Warner and Paramount were actually in talks to merge, which is probably why this was able to happen. But Disney ain't gonna go for it.
and is that effectively it? I feel like that's kind of like the end of the end of the
I
day.
don't remember at all what happened in episode 4.
I think episode 4 was effectively like sort of a recap of everything that happened. Now, a lot of what happened in episode 4 was still more Drake. Full circle. Like I think it was just.
I know, because they went back. Because there was the extra guy, but they gave him like no screen time.
The extra guy? Who was that?
The third guy.
There was a third guy?
Yes. He worked at Nickelodeon and
Oh, the black dude.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
he actually was bringing people in.
he knew what he was up to. Yeah, that was a third dude.
Like
I forget.
he got zero time though.
I
Like
would imagine like it's like, but he was a convicted child molester or something like that.
yeah, no, yeah, they hired him without a background check at all.
It is just what, but the thing was, if I'm not mistaken, in Dick Peck and Josh Jason's case, neither of them had been charged with neither of them had been charged with any kind of sexual assault at all, ever. So even if they had done background checks, at that point nothing would have shown up because they
Yeah.
hadn't been caught yet.
Now, as far as Jason goes, the issue was chronic,
Oh yeah, he
but it
had he needed fucking help.
and as far as Brian goes, though, like there's still no one to this day, I think, or I would assume, because I haven't seen any videos or anything about it. No one to this day has spoken up except Ryder and Will both spoke about because they, I guess, had heard about this documentary coming out before it came out, and they both spoke about how they wrote letters for him, and they both admitted that they shouldn't have.
Who are Ryder and Will?
Ryder Strong and Will Friedle from Boy Meets World, because he worked on Boy Meets World too.
Oh yeah. I remember them. I remember like seeing them somewhere on the internet being involved, well, having their 2 cents.
Hold on,